Well, firstly, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited about this opportunity and I'm grateful for the chance to get to interview for it. To answer your first question of why I chose to be in the early childhood field or what led me here, I feel like most educators or teachers kind of have a similar story about someone who really impacted them and really gave them that push to be in education. I have a very similar story. That teacher for me was Miss Bedingfield. I will never forget her. She was my seventh grade English language arts teacher. I just loved the way she did things. She was on the ball. I mean, organized. I love the way she ran her classroom. When you walked in there, it was calm and peaceful, and middle school is nothing calm and peaceful for the most part. So just being in the able to go there at that time of day, calm and peaceful. It was quiet. She would grade the papers, get them out the next day, test, and this is when they had to go physically scan each scantron. She would still get them back the next day. She was just so organized and so dedicated. She really sparked and continued to push my love for writing and for reading. At the end of every class, we got quiet reading time. And it was just, she was an excellent educator, and I respect her so much. I appreciate her to this day. If I saw her somewhere, I would instantly recognize her. And she just really had an impact on me. So that's one of the main reasons I really wanted to get into education. I said, if I'm a teacher, I'm going to be like her. So that was one of my huge motivators. I've always had the desire to help people, and I knew I wanted to do one or the two. I was either going for a nurse, medical field, or education. But being that I'm not too fond of blood, I felt like a nurse wasn't going to work out. But even in education, I still have to deal with blood, but it is okay. But yeah, so I would say just that one teacher that made a huge impact on me, and then in addition to that, just always having being around children. I worked in children's church. I worked as a summer camp counselor. I have 7 nieces and nephews, and I've just always kind of taken the lead in those roles around younger children. And that's what really pushed me to want to be in this career path. What I consider to be my chief responsibilities as an early childhood professional is number one, to keep the children safe. Their health and safety is my number one priority. The way they come in is the way that I want to send them home. I want to avoid, if possible, what can be avoided, the accidents and incidents that can be avoided. I would like to avoid them. Health and safety is a huge priority as an early childhood professional. Another huge responsibility as an early childhood professional is going to be to make sure that we're creating a community of caring learners. So I want to have a classroom environment that is inclusive, that is diverse, that is welcoming, that is calm, that is a place where children feel at home and where they feel like they can learn. So really creating a welcoming environment is super important. That is a chief responsibility. Something that I also think is a chief responsibility is making sure that children are having meaningful learning experiences. So just being able to do things that are hand-on, being able to do things that are standards driven and data based. So really taking the time to collect that data, observe, see what the children need, and strengthen them in those areas of what they need. As far as standards driven, just really making sure we're meeting those marks of what the children need to know that is going to push them on to that next level. So I feel like that's very important. Being that this is early childhood, play is super, super important. I want to create an environment where children are learning through play. They have the opportunity to play. They have the opportunity to play in different ways, whether that be alone, parallel play, as whole group, just different opportunities to really learn and engage. by playing alone and playing with one another. And one more thing that I feel like is super important is just for me, one of my chief responsibilities is showing respect. We're going to deal with a bunch of different cultures, a bunch of different people, personalities, family types, and it's just really important for me as the professional to respect the parents, respect them as my partner. Nobody knows their child like they do, so respect their input, respect what they have to say, and appreciate what they have to say, and do the best of your ability to incorporate it and to work with them to do what's best for their child. The role of collaboration is to partner with families. So I'll start with families. So the role of collaboration with families is to partner with them, to work hand in hand with them, to make sure that they are involved in their child's learning and we're involved in their child's academic career. So making sure that there's an open line of communication, whether that be through text, email. At my school we use Dojo, whatever form, daily sheets, whatever form of communication, just making sure that it's consistent, making sure that it's in the family's home language, and just various forms of communication is definitely going to help with collaboration with families. And this is so important because it helps the child to be more engaged. Studies have shown that children whose families are more engaged, and they do better academically. So studies and research has proven that. So it's very, very important for the families to be involved. Collaboration could be, coming into the classroom, being involved in the day, or even just observing and seeing, some of the things that we are doing in the classroom. This is also reinforcing those things that we're doing at school at home as well, so that they're really learning and absorbing everything that we're learning. So that's a huge reason for collaboration with families. Collaboration with professionals is also super important as well. So we may, as early childhood educators, we collaborate with physicians, we may collaborate with psychiatrists, speech pathologists, occupational therapists. There's so many different professionals that we may collaborate with, and it's just important to make sure that we're all on the same page. Same as with families, that open line of communication, and we just want to make sure that we're doing what's in the best interest of the child. So in order to do that, we do need to work together, make sure that we're being open, communicating, and we're incorporating the different things that the child may need in every avenue. So whether that be at home, whether that be in the classroom, as well as if they're being pulled out for different services or pulled to the side for different services, it's very important that we collaborate together in order to best meet the needs of the child. So there are a few strategies that I use to make sure that I'm growing as an early childhood educator and professional. So one of the ways that I make sure that I'm doing this is simple reflection. Every day at the end of the day, before I leave for the day, I kind of sit down and do a mental breakdown of the day. What went well, what didn't go well, what could I have done differently, and kind of sit and do some self-reflection. I feel like that's very important for us as educators, because the day is moving so fast. We're working with so many different children, speaking to parents, admin, and sometimes things happen so quickly we don't really get a chance to think about it and process it because we're just doing, our routine. So self-reflection is something that's super important. I also like to sharpen my skills with professional development. So in my district, we have, in addition to teacher work days, we have professional development days. And I really like to utilize these to go to different schools, attend different professional developments or online professional developments to just kind of strengthen my skills and to learn things that I didn't know. Another strategy that I like to utilize is colleague collaboration. I love to work with other teachers and see how they're doing things, kind of put our heads together and brainstorm together. I love collaborating with my colleagues. And then also, I really like to utilize social media. Social media is a really awesome way to kind of stay up to date with things that are changing, different things that different teachers are doing all across the country and across the world. It's just such a great resource when you find some positive people to follow and people that have similar interests and styles to you, and those that don't have similar interests and styles to you, you can really learn from them. So I would say professional development, social media, self-reflection, and collaborating with my colleagues are how I keep my skills sharp and make sure that I am continuing to better myself as an early childhood professional. Advocacy is a huge part of being a early childhood professional. It's a huge part of our job, advocating for the families, advocating for the children, advocating for just early childhood professionals in general in our field. It's a very important part of our job. One issue that I focus a lot of attention on is making sure that families have access to quality childcare. So with our current administration, without getting political, something that's in talks is eliminating all Head Start programs starting in 2026. So this is a huge issue. Eliminating Head Start programs will affect millions of families. In some states, that is the only access to quality early child care that there is in some areas. So this is a really big issue that I'm currently focusing on and advocating for. So, it may start with Head Start, which is federally funded, and then on the state level, this could trickle down to things like pre-K. Like I'm in North Carolina, and I work for NC Pre-K. So although that's state funded, for now that's okay. But if something as large as Head Start that provides early childhood education for millions of families in America can be in talks of being completely dismantled, um, you know, something like NC Pre-K could definitely be dismantled as well. So I am a huge advocate of making sure that families have access to not just early childhood education, but quality early childhood education where their children are being taken care of as a whole. So they're learning about their health, their bodies, in addition to their growing academically and getting prepared with that kindergarten readiness. And in addition to the kindergarten readiness is also their social and emotional learning. These are those formative years. Is very, very important what we do in early childhood education. So I will continue to advocate for access across America, across the income levels, across the across America, across income levels, no matter whether you work or if you don't, no matter where you live, what your income is, your child deserves access to a quality education. So equity is a huge issue that I currently advocate for. And I want to thank you for the opportunity. I am extremely interested in this position. I hope to hear back from you, and thank you again.